Good morning, good evening, good night, whichever place you are in the world. Thank you for joining me for another video. We are here again for another COVID update. I don't know. We're just going along the motions, as you see with my last few updates. I know some of you are still planning to come to Jamaica. We're going to be touching on whether or not it's still safe to come to Jamaica right now before the end of 2021, what to expect, and what are the new COVID measures. So if you're interested in that, then keep on watching. Hi guys, welcome back again. I know you want to get straight to the point, so let me start with number one, which is the big question. Let me just get to the meat of the matter. Is it safe to come to Jamaica right now? I would say, as a local, and I would say as somebody that could possibly use this information, yes, it is safe to come to Jamaica because we are doing all we can to ensure the safety of our tourists, because our tourism industry adds to the GDP of Jamaica. So yes, it is safe. We ensure the best is given to our tourists as soon as they step foot off of the airplane. We celebrated welcoming the 1 millionth tourist to Jamaica since the Panini, and we are just, basking in that achievement because it has been really rough on the world and rough on Jamaica, just trying to get the footing back in the door in terms of offering what they can to tourists and ensuring that the standard is kept. And I just wanted to add that we also had a cruise ship come to Jamaica in Ocho Rios, and that cruise ship hosted some 1,700 tourists. We were able to welcome them and show them what the country has to offer.
Everybody leaving the corridor, all visitors on that come to stay in the hotels and go on the attractions, they're all tested before they go back to the United States. And we have maintained a positivity rate of under 1%. We had one period where it went to 1.17, and it has since maintained at 1% or below, which is really a proof that protocols work.
Yes, since we are so adhering to the protocol and ensuring the safety of our tourists, then I would say it's safe because we don't play when it comes to COVID and just keeping the cases low. So what does this mean for tourists? Tourists can expect world-class service, world-class standard that is Jamaica. I know it's really upsetting to have to be sanitizing and social distancing and wearing your mask and ensuring that you have a negative COVID test and all that good stuff, getting travel authorization, approval, and quarantine and all that stuff. It's a lot, guys. I know it's a lot, but it's just to ensure that you get the greatness that is Jamaica. Like, brand Jamaica has a lot to uphold. We have a big shoe to fill, so we just have to ensure that we adhere to the protocol while giving you world-class service. So with that being said, I think you can expect a marvelous stay for your vacation. So it's safe to book your flights and just ensure that you have all the information. If you want, you can go back to my previous videos where I talk about travel authorization. I will touch on quarantine later in this video, and vaccination, and whether or not the curfew hours allow you to still enjoy your vacay. So keep watching for that. So let's touch on the COVID cases. So right now we have quite a bit of cases. 77,497 cases so far since COVID was a thing, And of the 77,000, we have 50,217 recoveries. So that is pretty good. And we have 25,004 cases still active, and 790 of those cases are hospitalized or critically ill. With that said, we have a 43% positivity rate, and unfortunately we have 1,757 deaths since the pandemic was first in Jamaica. On average, we have 500 cases being reported every day, but we are trying our best to ensure that we manage these cases and decrease the cases over time. This includes having curfew, as I'm going to talk about next. Also, we are doing some heavy vaccination implementation plans to ensure that, persons are vaccinated. So far, we have almost 700,000 doses administered, of which 73,000 are children being vaccinated, and we have offered the 3 doses, the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer seems to be the most popular since it arrived to Jamaica, so we are still trying to get most of the population vaccinated, and once that is done, then the curfew hours can change, new measures can be put in place, and we see how best we can progress in the new normal. Moving on to curfew hours. Curfew hours have been changed, and this is effective September 18th to October 28, 2021, and they're as follows. I'll put it up somewhere on the screen, but right now it is Monday to Friday, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. the next morning, and on Saturday it is still at 6 p.m. to now Monday at 5 a.m. because Sunday is now going to be a no movement day, unfortunately. If you have seen my previous video, you see where we had 3 no movement days from Sunday to Tuesday, and then Wednesday you can go about your business again. But now it has changed because Prime Minister said that these sets of lockdowns are not conducive to anybody growing as a country. So he has changed it, and then he's going to do some serious vaccination tours and bringing vaccination awareness to the Jamaican population to just ensure that we have all the information and we are willing to get vaccinated. So yeah, those are the new curfew hours, and I hope you guys plan around that. I mean, you have more wiggle room in terms of hours to travel to and from your tourist attraction, but hotels, you don't have to worry about hotels locking off or you having to go to your hotel room, because I know some persons were asking that. If you are on property and you'll be staying on property for the duration, the activities continue as usual and you can just enjoy all the amenities that the hotel has to offer without worrying about curfew. But if you want to get off of the property, you have to do that within the non-curfew hours, so keep that in mind. Beaches and rivers and other tourist attractions, restaurants, and other locations that you want to travel to, please ensure that you plan accordingly to the curfew hours and when these areas or places will be closed. Usually it's 1 to 2 hours before the curfew is implemented. Note that because you don't want to breach curfew, there are hefty fines where that is concerned, so plan accordingly. So COVID testing, I know you have to come onto the plane and get a negative COVID test before you book your flight. It has to be 72 hours before you book your flight. We only accept PCR or antigen tests. Keep in mind that, make sure that it is from a reputable or certified lab who is administering these tests, and make sure that it's negative, or else you won't be able to come on the plane and your flight or your booking or all your stuff that you plan to do in Jamaica would be in vain. And when you're going back, same thing. There are many labs that are available to tourists in Jamaica, as well as I believe most hotels offer COVID testing, so you don't have to worry about that. Just make sure that you know where, when, how, why, and plan accordingly. So in terms of quarantine remains the same. If you have a negative COVID test, quarantine is 14 days. However, if you're fully vaccinated, it is 8 days. And if you want to be exempted from quarantine, it is essential that you do a negative, what am I talking about? Yeah, a negative PCR test on Jamaican soil or when you reach the airport in Jamaica. Yeah, so that is the only thing I have to say on quarantine. I mean, before, I've heard where tourists say that before, like last year or earlier this year, they were very strict when it comes to the quarantine and ensuring that, you know, you're quarantined and they track you on the app. But now they just give you the warning of, hey, you know, do your quarantine and get released after. But if you're quarantined, you can still go to tourist attractions. You can't go to public gatherings. You can't go to funerals or weddings. So if you want to do that, it's either you take a PCR test on Jamaican soil, so you're exempt from quarantine altogether, or you know, check with the Ministry of Health and your travel authorization to see, like, when you outline your purpose of stay, they will give you all that information. So yeah, check with that, and you need to check with them in order to get travel authorization approval. So keep that in mind when you are about to book your flight. Okay, last but not least, I believe that's last but not least, you don't need to be vaccinated to come to Jamaica. They have not mandated it as yet. I say as yet because at this point I'm gonna expect everything and anything because this pandemic has really tested us and our resilience. But we stay strong and we press on and we adapt. So yeah, with that said, you can be fully vaccinated. You can take any vaccine really and just be fully vaccinated to ensure your safety, okay? Because once you come on Jamaican soil, anything can happen. You still can contract the disease, but the severity of the symptoms might not be as bad. I'm not going to say there's 0% chance of you contracting COVID. It's a possibility anywhere you go, but you have to be mindful of this and ensure that you do not contract it, because we want you to enjoy your time on Jamaican soil and go back to your country happy and healthy. Alright guys, with that being said, I think you all know what time it is. It's time for me to go about my business, and I know you guys have things to do. Thank you again for joining me for another video, and stay tuned for the next one. Alright guys, stay safe, healthy, and amazing. Bye.